Hey guys, so I know it's kind of weird in order for me to pretty much immediately right out of the gate like pretty much pretty much get off topic from the actual review, but one thing I do need to say is that obviously with this week it was revealed to us that My Hero Academia is going on break because I suppose that what happened is that Horikoshi had fallen ill or something like that. So yeah, I it's one of those things where I think I just want to say wish him any way you can. Just wish them in your pretty much best wishes and hope he gets well because in this world you just never really know with of what's gonna happen. And in today's world, you don't know what's gonna happen anymore. So yeah. But anyway, getting to part getting into the actual like chapter review itself of One Piece, chapter 1009. The first thing I want to talk about is the final confrontation between the Akaze samurai and Orochi, because which, if I'm being honest, is probably the most conflicting part of the chapter for me, even more so than what I'm gonna talk about next, because it's there where I do kind of question why Oda brought him back if pretty much all he was going to do was pretty much kill him again. Like it's one of those things where I get it in the broader sense of pretty much finally ending things between the pretty much two clans of the Kozuki and Kur Ozumi, but in execution, it does feel a little sloppy. It's almost like one of those very it feels like one of those very rare times in Oda's case where he didn't entirely know how to resolve how to resolve the whole plot thread with the whole thing of the French Kurozumi clans like endless hatred. Like it didn't because of how Oroshi's fate ended up. It feel like Oda just kind of rushed that plot thread out the door and didn't know how to truly resolve it. But again, I don't know if that's the case, but it does feel like that. Now, on the other hand, the circumstances of Orochi's death are the part I actually really like because it shows how ultimately, in the madness of rage Orochi's desire in order to destroy the French legacy, the French entire Kozuki legacy had over Wano, he kind of ended up being the cause of his own downfall by being Prince trapping himself between the fire and the Yakuza samurai. So in that sense, I really like how his death was handled, but it's just everything else like surrounding it. It did feel a little sloppy. Again, I like how it was. I like in the end how it was all set up, but the execution of it just it felt a little. It could have been better, honestly. Um, because yeah, in the end, Orochi was kind of the cause of his own downfall, and of course we also get a bit of a setup for another fight of from Rizzo like from facing down from facing down from facing down Fukuro Kujo, I think his name is, but yeah, which is not a battle I was necessarily clamoring to see, but I'm still intrigued by how that would play out exactly. I don't know if it's gonna happen off screen, but I'd be interested for an on-screen battle with that, I guess. Now with that said, let's talk about the big thing that happened in this chapter, which is Big Mom's defeat, more or less. And first, I have to say, I absolutely love the entire. I absolutely love the entire collaborative effort it took between like Law, Kid, Zoro, all of them in order to take her down. And the thing is, when it comes to Big Mom and her being defeated, I know it's practically become a bit of a meme at how much Big Mom has been outsmarted and defeated nowadays. But the thing is, when you really get down to it, Big Mom's greatest strengths are also her greatest weaknesses. if you take away any of her main sources of power away, whether it's Zeus, Prometheus, her pretty much sword, or her hat, then if you take any of those pieces out of the equation, then she is vulnerable. And I especially love how Kid's powers were utilized in this chapter in order to restrain Zeus in that makeshift metal box trap. Like that is honestly even more clever than the dynamic that Oda had set up in Skypiea between Luffy and Eneru's powers. Now, with that being said, even though it's good Big Mom is out of the fight now, I do find myself asking one very singular question, which is, did they act too late in taking her out? I mean, don't get me wrong. It makes the bet. It makes just having Big Mom like being taken out of the picture. It already makes the battle easier now that she's no longer going to be a threat. But the problem is, as we see throughout the chapter, Zoro, Law, and Kid are expending a lot of time and physical energy towards defeating her, and they don't exactly. And after finally taking her out, they don't look like they're exactly in prime condition for another fight. And even though Luffy is holding his own against Kaido, well enough, I think this is where we should expect like the biggest turning point, whether it lands in the Alliance's favor or Kaido's, because while the others look beaten bloody, Kaido still looks to be, at least on the surface, in order to be fighting at his best. Like I'm sure he's getting beaten down to a degree, but it's not in the same way that of what's happened with all the others right now. Like it looks like that they kind of are reaching their absolute limit right now. Um, Having said that, I think one thing we should still keep an eye on though in is Zoro's role in this fight, because I doubt, again, even though Zoro is pretty much among the fighters in this battle who have been beaten bloody, who look like they have reached their limitation just from taking down Big Mom. I always go back to how Oda set things up, and I doubt Oda would have spent all that time would have spent all the time in Prince building up Enma if Enma as a soul like Enma if he didn't still have some role in order for Zoro to play. Like again, I I think what's being set up right here with Zoro right now is that obviously Kaido is aware of the power of the sword that Zoro is using, but now it's putting Zoro in a place where he pretty much has to use he has to use Enma in the most strict. He has to use Enma very carefully now. He has to wait for the absolute perfect strategic moment in order to take Kaido down in some way with Enma. I think that's what Oda is more or less setting up here, and that's not even including all the others who are probably on their French way in order to fight Kaido as well. Like I think this whole thing is going to be set up as one big like Avengers Endgame style thing where everyone and anyone under the sun who's involved in this is going to end up face to face with Kaido in some form or fashion, I think. Um, Also, I kind of have to apologize. When I first saw Kaido's hybrid form, I thought it was just okay, if not a little underwhelming. But getting to see more of it up close, if it not only looks way more badass than I thought it was, but for such a hulking monster like Kaido, there's a surprising amount of versatility that his hybrid form grants him. And going off what I had already just said, through getting to see the power of his Devil Fruit in action makes me realize even more that we are reaching the turning point of this battle. And honestly, I don't even know if Luffy is actually going to win. I think seeing this pretty much display of power on Kaido's part with his Devil Fruit hybrid form really reinforced for me that Luffy might lose again, and that it is going to be up to almost everyone else up to everyone else to in order to kind of like pretty much fight in his place, whether that's temporarily or permanently. I don't know. Like, but in some ways, I kind of actually wouldn't mind if pretty much Luffy lost again and ended up taking a back seat to everyone else, frankly, because this again, this battle isn't. This battle in a lot of ways wasn't really Luffy's to begin with. It was the battle of the Yagase Nine. And in some ways it kind of even is the battle of of Zoro's now that he has N-Man in his possession. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Lister Control. Death Knight of MA signing off. Later, guys.